I want to talk about predictive analytics for social media as the future of social media marketing, because we do believe this is actually, we're seeing it right now as a present, more than the future, and whoever doesn't move to this is going to have an issue, because paid media and promoting content, promote content is something that is just unsustainable for some brands and agencies. So we have to regain relevance. Let me just try to make this work quick. Okay. So guys, we love digital because it made everything measurable, right? I remember being an old overnight guy in 2007 or whatever, when we were doing TV and all that. We were just, ratings and audiences and all that. We couldn't measure anything. But then digital came and it made everything measurable, which was amazing for our sales pitch. Because we would just go to our clients and say, come to do it with us. We're gonna measure every single thing we do. And that was amazing. Clients love that. You're gonna reach more people. It's gonna cost you less, and you're gonna get more. You're gonna get more return of investment, because we're gonna be able to measure that. And then after a couple of years of that, after that, it became a problem, because the digital landscape started transforming, and then the growth stopped being vertical, because Facebook and Twitter got to the point of 1 billion and half a billion people, and then it started being horizontal. And then it came Pinterest, and then it came Instagram, and it came Snapchat, and so on. They keep coming more and more platforms. So what's success these days? We don't really know. I keep reading about, there are 7 engagement rate metrics. There are 5 ways of calculating reach on each platform. Twitter doesn't give you, Instagram doesn't give you reach these days. It's just so unstable, and it's just we're not speaking the same language anymore in digital. Back in the day, it was analytics, traffic, bouncing people, likes, comments, and shares, and followers, and that was the whole thing. Actually, most people still do that, only that. So, guys, if you have had the chance to talk to someone here at the event, okay, working. All right. I don't know if you have had the chance to talk here at the event. Guys, 2 chairs in the back. Thank you. But just talk to someone that you don't know and ask them how they're measuring success in social media, how they're measuring success when they do content marketing, or how they're measuring success when they do attribution, through multi-channel attribution, when they do performance ads or whatever. And they're always going to tell you different things. So it's like when you ask someone, what does love mean to you? We'll give you a different answer. Digital became that, and that to us is a big issue, because when we go to clients these days, they always tell us, but this agency is telling me that success is this, and then you're bringing me another different concept, and then we have this tool that is telling me that mentions is what we're looking for, and then someone is talking about influencers, and then someone is talking about advocacy and relevance and a bunch of qualitative, non-measurable metrics. So we stop speaking the same language. I don't know about you, but I think there's a big problem that we have as digital marketers these days. You know why? Because we focus on numbers. And that's not entirely right. Numbers are the consequence to what we do, but we're not focusing on the cost. What's causing those numbers? We're just paying attention to whatever Sprout Social or Hootsuite or Nuvi or whatever are telling us, numeric results, and then we're not paying attention to the cause of those for those numbers, right? Because we're just looking at, you want to take these chairs, guys? There are 4 chairs in the back. You want to take the chairs? Cool. So we forgot to pay attention to the cause, what's causing those numbers. And that's the first question. Are we paying attention to the cause or the consequence? Numbers and metrics are amazing, but remember that that's the consequence to what we do. We have to find patterns on the cause. So, guys, metrics are the result. My invitation here is to try to identify behavior. How can you identify behavior or quantify behavior if that doesn't have a number? The key is attribution, and I'm going to explain that. And that's how we're predicting behavior on social media. How do we measure qualitative behavior in digital marketing? How do we measure a content pillar? How do we measure time? How do we measure things that, qualitative drivers? I'm going to explain that and how we're doing it. And then again, the key is math and attribution. So there's a big concept out there called big data, right? Everyone's talking about big data. But then again, it's funny to see how when you ask anyone about what big data is, they give you different answers. They just We just don't know what it is. And there's a lot of data, and I was telling you guys outside that how we're data rich but inside poor, because we're just focusing on reports, and then we have the junior person at the agency or the company just building up the PowerPoint every last 2 days of the month and then putting together that presentation, and then the client has a numeric goal. If we reach 300,000 followers, then we're good and we're just safe and we love it, and that's what we're looking at. When you talk to any digital marketeer these days about their brand or their agency, the first thing they're going to tell you is we have 200,000 people on Twitter, we have a traffic of 100,000 people coming in and out, or whatever, but we don't know behavior. We don't know why people are coming. You know why? Because 90% of those numbers are paid. Are we okay with that? I'm not, honestly. So I started looking for an answer to that. And then the evil came, and to me the evil is Facebook. This guy works at Facebook, do you know that? Because Facebook gave us paradise, a great platform to just put our brands out there and start talking to our audiences. And then one day they decided to stop that for free. And then they closed the door. The Edge rank algorithm, they closed that a couple of years ago. And then when we had 10% organic reach, now we have 1% if we're lucky. And then everyone, since we're just trying to find and to get like big audiences around, you know what? Having a big audience is a problem now. Because the more people you have, the less you reach them. Less number of reach you're getting. So if you're not telling your client, hey, promote content, but then your client is gonna tell you, but when you pitch to me, you're talking about relevance and conversation and having people talking to the brand and so on. Why do I have to pay people to talk to me? How do we answer to that? Like, that's one of the questions that actually are very tough, but they're true. How do we justify promoting content every single day? I just don't have the balls to do it yet. So I started to try to find something different. Guys, big data, extremely large amount of data that is just out there, and then it's gonna be defining patterns. And that's cool, it's a great concept, everyone is talking about that. How are we finding those patterns and how are we taking those patterns into our marketing plans? We're not, basically. So what is the right method to find those patterns? We're just not looking for them. You know why? Because we have a quantitative KPI, and then if we reach that KPI, our client is gonna be happy, our boss is gonna be happy, and that's it. But if I ask you, and I'm gonna give you an example with Procter & Gamble, is my client here? He's not, right? He'll hate this, but I'll give you a real story. Charmin is toilet paper. Do social media for toilet paper. That's an uncomfortable, weird thing to do. And then Charmin was always about the bears and the family, right? Do you know Charmin? Of course. Bears, family, and happy songs, and that's it. Targeting women all over the world. So one day we created a content pillar formula that you saw outside, and I'm gonna explain it a bit too. And then we started testing other things. Obviously, the first content pillar was product. We will talk about the product because the client is not going to allow you not to talk about them. Then the second content pillar, we started testing more behavioral content, was the King of the Throne. The King of the Throne came from listening that in Mexico and Latin America, and in the world, we lose our battles to our girlfriends and wives. It's just impossible to, they choose what we eat, they choose what movie we're going to watch, and so on. But then there's one place when we're the king, and it's the bathroom, it's the throne. That came from real listening. Latin America people, the guys, we make decisions in the bathroom. We go to the bathroom, we sit there. That came from data, and you're laughing because it's the truth. So we created a campaign called the King of the Throne. And the King of the Throne was the first campaign ever made for Charmin targeting men into conversation. So that was the second content pillar. The third one was funny ways to say that you're going to the bathroom, because as a Latin person, and whoever is Latin here, that we have many ways to say that we're going to the bathroom to number 2. So we start playing with that, and people, we're just engaging an amazing amount of people. How did we translate that into sales? Well, the share voice, share market, 3 points up. My clients are on there, you can ask them, how did we do this year, or how is Charmin doing this year, when they pull out traditional and they're just doing digital, particularly social media. Then we created the King of the Throne campaign with the bear, answering questions and so on. And now we have the biggest strategy in Charmin in the world for social media with that concept. And they're targeting for the first time men, and they're increasing sales. You know what? Whoever your brand think it's in the real world is not who they are in the social media world. Never. Whoever you think you are out there on TV and radio, and your brand manifesto and your brand guidelines say you are, you're not that on social media. Believe me on that. like mark my words. So that's why we're creating content pillars. So guys, like I was saying before, what's happening in digital marketing these days in 2015, essentially three things. The first one is that we stop speaking the same language. We're just talking different stuff. You know, every agency is talking different. It's just weird to me that what we see in these events and so on, it's a different language. We used to be so tight, talking about the same thing a couple of years ago. Now it's just we don't really know. Second thing, again, is data rich, insights poor. So everyone, your clients and agencies or whatever, they're gonna be talking about how many tools they have and how many numbers they have on their market research and so on and so forth. But you ask them for insight, real insight, behavioral insights, they don't have any. The second one. And the third one is just getting hard to do it. In the past, doing social media was amazing because it was cheap, it was fast, it was amazing, it was great results, you can measure anything. These days, it's not about Facebook and Twitter anymore. We have other 4 or 5 really relevant platforms. Try to create content for 5 platforms at the same time as a client, how much that's gonna cost you. And then on top of that, you have to promote the content because it's not getting there organically because Facebook and Twitter and all those guys are making us pay for it. So go and try to sell social media, the big commodity for agencies these days. Or as a client, try to go and do social media for $5,000 a month and tell me if you can do that. So I think we're in a pivotal moment in our business where we have to start speaking the same language and doing predictive analytics. Predictive analytics is going to solve a lot of those problems. So that's my talk. I'm going to be talking about how we as an agency, as Asylum, and we created Smart Beemo, and how Smart Beemo is actually rocking the social media world by predicting what to say and when to say it. So guys, the difference between intelligent data and big data, and this is my own concept, it's debatable. If you don't agree with it, that's respectable, but that to me, it is what it is. The difference is that big data is just data. Intelligent data is data, patterns, and actions, right? Big data is just data and patterns. Intelligent data is when you take action over those patterns in a time frame. To me, the sweet spot time frame on social media is 6 hours. We have to be doing stuff every 6 hours, which is the main engagement cycle when it closes before you start promoting content. 6 hours is when you have to make decisions. So how do we find those valuable patterns? It's mathematical attribution, and this is just a little formula I wrote for what we do, and Smart Beemo has it. And then how do you find a pattern? You take a number, any quantitative data, likes, comments, shares, traffic, impressions, plays, clicks on posts, you name it, reach. And then you mix that with behavioral data. How? By attributing a value to it. You take something that doesn't have a value and you add a weight, a value to it. Any number, it's just math. Over a time frame. Use that formula over a week, 2 weeks, and I'm gonna give you some cases on how I've done it before, and it works amazingly. So just mix quantitative data with qualitative data by attributing a value to it over a time frame. 2 weeks, a week, a month, and a year, and you're gonna find amazing things, behavioral data and insights, real insights. So guys, my second question or invitation here is that we can keep following the existing metrics, which are changing and they're not really standard, or we can create a metric. I'm a fan of creating metrics rather than just following whatever Sprout Social is telling me to follow, or Social Bakers, or all those guys, because that to me is useless, basically. I rather create a metric, and creating the metric is something that is gonna give you an edge on behavior, rather than just having a bunch of numbers that you cannot really do anything with. So I think that we're in the metrics revolution these days, and the metrics revolution is whoever jumps on that is the one that is going to be able to create metrics and create numbers and do that. I'm going to give you examples on that because I know it sounds sweet, but it's not that easy. It's actually very easy, but it sounds hard. So example number 1, I explained that outside. I'm going to do it a little slower here, and I'm going to give you a real case on how we did this. Guys, when we do content pillars. We do 3 main content pillars and 1 secondary content pillar. That means if we have 10 tweets a day, we'll do 3, 3, 3, and 1. And then over a time frame of 16 days, you're always gonna see a pattern. The pattern that gives you 7% engagement or more over reach is gonna be your social voice of a brand. Just do the exercise. Take your Twitter account, your Facebook account, and then start talking about 3 things. Your life, marketing, I'm sure if you're here, you talk about that a lot, and then maybe your dog, or your boyfriend, or your friends, or whatever moves your heart. and then start posting 1/3 of the content on each of those. Monitor that content over a couple of weeks, and you're gonna see a pattern on which one gives you more response on your audience. For brands, it works even better because the frequency is even more. If you really wanna do it on Twitter, because on Twitter you have more frequency. The bigger the sample, the bigger the better the result, the more accurate it is. So that's one. Example number 2, this is a dynamic fluctuating weighting system I created when that basically became Smart Beemo. So this thing doesn't point on the screen, but so a couple of years ago, and this is the story how it started, a client called me and said, listen, I don't want to get bigger because that to me is irrelevant, but I'm seeing my engagement going like peaks and downs. It's just weird, it's just unstable. I don't want that. I want more, a more stable engagement on my communities. We have Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So we created 3 content pillars. It was a GNC brand, working out and all that, vitamins and all that stuff. So topic A was a product, topic B was the gym, and topic C was lifestyle, being healthy and eating well and jogging and all that stuff. There are 3 essential formats that you can post on social media and digital marketing, which are image, video, and text, correct? That's it. And then we have Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and you have 24 hours a day. So what I did manually on a board was start mixing all that as much as I could. So I would do topic A, product, format image on Facebook at 5:15 a.m. And I'll wait for 6 hours and gather data, likes, comments, and shares. I'll write them down. Then topic B, gym on Twitter, a text at 7:10 a.m. Post it, gather data, retweets, favorites, replies after 6 hours. Then I'll take topic C, lifestyle, maybe a video or image on Instagram, post it, likes and comments after 6 hours. I did it for 52 days until I found a pattern. There was a pattern when I saw that talking about lifestyle in the afternoon of a Tuesday using an image on Facebook was amazing, always. But then tweeting at 9 p.m. about product videos, it wasn't effective. So when I saw that pattern on each of the content pillars and when the timing and the formats that were better for it, we increased the engagement on that brand 700% organic, automatic. 300% organic impressions right away. And then when the promoting content revolution came, that brand never had to do it. Never had to do it. So that's one example, example 2. Example 3, this is another thing that we did for Smart Beemo. I explained it outside too. So we know that on the HRank algorithm on Facebook or Twitter, whatever, getting comments and getting shares gives you more reach. People, you get more viral impressions through getting shares and comments rather than just likes. So we created a weighting system or a scoring system for likes, comments, and shares. When likes are worth 1 point, comments 3, and shares 7. Because the advocacy comes from sharing content, not from liking it. Liking is easy, sharing, not so much. Same on Twitter, favorite, reply, and retweets. We give scores to interactions in real time. So Smart Beemo does a regression on 160 posts every 6 minutes, understanding when was it posted, what topic was posted, and what format was it posted, and it gives a weight to all the interactions, and then it predicts based on that. It's statistics. Example number 3. Example number 4, I developed a metric for viewability, because I don't think that views, as it is that much of a metric. Getting views is easy because you can pay for them. And there's a huge problem these days that people are not watching the whole content, right? They're just abandoning, especially when it comes to ads and web series and all that. We're not just watching the whole content. So what I did basically on the viewability engagement metric, 3 main topics. I'll do the engagement rate on likes and comments on YouTube, and then the average time spent on the video, because I know when people are abandoning. And then that over the tribe, because we have 3 different tribes for the content we're doing. Married women in Latin America, young students with acquisition power of buy whatever the hell, and young, juppy, snobby mamas. So we have those 3 tribes. So we're testing those tribes. So for us, the viewability metric comes from mixing data, quantitative data, qualitative data over the tribe, and we know which content to display to each of the tribes and when to do it, rather than just quantifying views, because that's useless at the end. I mean, you can pay for it and people are going to still abandon your content. This is how the interface on Smart Beemo looks like. We show that outside. And it's just amazing. To me, it's fascinating to see that we can actually predict what content to post and when to do it and which format to use to maximize, your results. We love video and our clients love video, but it's really hard to produce. Like your clients, they don't have to pay to produce video every day, and they don't have the money for it. We'll have one video, if lucky, once a week. So just make sure that you deliver it when it's the right time and about the right topic. And this is how our prediction calendar looks on Smart Beemo. So what we were able to do with those fluctuating systems and models was basically to take all that content and reaction of the content, adding scores to the interactions, and then create optimized predictive analytics for social media. And that's how it looks. This is the only tool in the world that does it. Smart Beemo was the best startup of the year in the Festival of Media last year. Were you there? Best startup of the year in technology. When it was a model, it didn't exist. It wasn't operational. The software was just a model, a theoretical model, and it was awarded as the best startup in technology because they see the future in it. We'll be speaking next week in the Festival of Media, if you're gonna come, about this actually, because we're a success story for them, because Smart Beemo won that, and after that, everyone wanted to hear about it. So that's how it looks like. Guys, remember, predicting is always getting better than guessing. And these days, if I ask you guys or your brands or your clients, how are we posting? It's gonna be whatever we feel is right. We want to talk about our brand. And we're posting whenever the community manager has time for it. And even Facebook is telling you sometimes, like, this is when the audience is more connected, 3 to 6 p.m. That's crap. I mean, you cannot do anything with it. You know what? Because every industry is different. So we have Subway, which is food. We have Kingston, which is technology. We have Procter & Gamble, which is consumer. We have, I don't know, what else? Where's my person? We have, Juan Valdez, which is coffee, which is food as well. Guess what? For Kingston, the sweet spot is between 9 p.m. and midnight. That's when we get more relevance from the audience. For Subway, obviously 11 to 1 p.m. Beast Sports, that brand that I was telling you that I found a model on, 4 a.m., amazing. They never thought of it. 4 to 5 a.m. because that's when people are getting up for the gym and so on. But not every content will work there, because when we did product at that time, nothing happened. But when we did motivational lifestyle content, they love it. So just remember that predicting is better than guessing. And I believe that agencies and software, like if you're an agency and you don't start developing your own models, I know there are a lot of Sapien Nitros and Razorfish and RGAs of the world. You know what, they're amazing because they have their own methodologies, because the key is innovation and invention to those guys. If you're an agency, if you're a creative guy, if you're a social media person, and you're not inventing, just executing, I think we have to stop learning and start thinking. You're gonna just die one day, that's for sure. And we saw that as an agency. And then we started developing product, software. And I don't really think it's that hard, I was reading a paper on Harvard Business Review or something like that a couple of days ago that said that innovation, 90% of innovative products come from two things that already exist. So innovation is not about inventing the wheel, it's about taking two things that already exist, that work, put them together, and then you go. Smart Beemo is that, Nuvi is that, Facebook is that, anything, Uber is that. All those innovative things that we're seeing is just people that are seeing two things that already exist, putting them together and believing the idea to it. I believe that the future, even the present of our business is predictive. And you're already seeing it with programmatic media buys. I don't know if any of you do that. I don't think there's any DSP or programmatic platform that I like these days, fully like it, but it's getting there. Ipsos is doing something coming soon as well, really cool. But programmatic is predictive analytics at the end of the day for media buy. So that's what's gonna happen. Guys, we're in a business where relevance to us is everything, to our clients is everything, but then relevance is like love. It means something different for everyone, and we're just speaking different languages here. My invitation is let's talk a little math. We're bringing, Smart Beemo was built as well by two PhDs in statistics. I found the principle, but I didn't write the algorithm or the formula because I don't know that much. We brought in two mathematicians to do that for us. If you find one little thing or one model that you want to test, bring a mathematician to it or a statistics person. Because what we do these days with these guys closing the doors of organic and relevance, mathematics is the only science that is going to help us get in there. Nothing, or dollars, which is another big science, but not everyone has them. Guys, once you're able to predict, then you're able to set the trends when it comes to content and when it comes to conversations. In the past, setting the trend in content was like a shot in the dark. It was Red Bull putting a guy on the stratosphere to jump. Yeah, you know, if you have 100 million to do that, be my guest. Or if you're Coca-Cola, if you're Microsoft, to do amazing things like that. But the truth is that we're not. If there are clients here, or if there are agencies here, we know that we don't have those budgets, and it's just impossible. But then I can tell you this, and mark my words, if we're able to predict and to understand behavior when it comes to data, we're gonna be able to set trends really easy, because you know what's gonna trigger your audiences right away. It's actually quite spectacular to see it. Guys, and let's not forget the essentials. I don't think there is a key to what we do or a potion magic formula, but to me the closest to a magic formula to content is the right mix between message, format, and timing. That's it. The right message, the right format, and the right timing of distribution of that content is the closest to a secret potion formula thing for what we do. I don't know any other one, but the key and the DNA to everything we do as agency, as Smart Beemo, is that. You know, start playing with it. And remember, every time if we're doing social media or content, we have to do three things, or one or two of these things: useful, entertaining, or informative. Otherwise, it's just BS, right? Always entertain, be useful, and be informative. One of those three, or three of those, or two of those three, or whatever. If not, and that works for life as well. If you go to a bar and you meet a cute girl guy and you're not that, she's gonna leave, unless you pay. She's popular in Miami. Good? Guys, meet the Smart Beemo team. We have a booth upstairs. I would love to come and give you you can set up your accounts. It works with Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We can set up an account for you. Again, we have a 50% discount. It's a $99 software, so I'm sure you have pocket change to pay that. We're not a $7,000 platform or a $40,000. We have NetBase, which is $40,000, which is very expensive, but it's an amazing tool. This we're going long tail, and we will give you a free trial to have you work on it. We'll help you create your content pillars, because that's really, really important. And then once you start predicting and following those predictions, you're gonna see. Again, I don't think that the human value, like we're not gonna replace the human value and creativity with technology. We're far from that. We need that. We need heart, we need guts, we need intuition, and we need all that. But the more we can give our agencies, and our purpose as a company is to give more time to marketers to think than to operate. Because we're too busy operating shit and getting reports and meeting clients, and we spend hours in airplanes and meetings and all that, and we have no time to think anymore. That's why we're seeing a lot of crappy content outside and a lot of crappy work. So our mission and what we breathe for, and what you should breathe for as well, is let's have more time to think and less to operate. Because when you have a little time to do that, you find amazing things. That's my email if you want to shoot me an email, and that's my Twitter account. I'm going to answer questions, and I'm going to give you a detailed demo on the tool. If you're going to set your accounts, just come upstairs and we'll do it for you. That was quick. So guys, let's do Juan Valdez. Any Colombians in the house? There you go. Amazing. So Juan Valdez is a 3.1 million community, and we have almost 5% engagement. You know that basic engagement in social media is 1 to 2% organic, nothing paid. We have almost 5 in a 3.5 million people community. Can I see my face? Can you see that thing? Okay. So what we're doing with these guys, when we created the campaign, it looks something like this. So this is Juan Valdez. So we created these content pillars. The perfect mock, or the perfect serve, experience, product, provocation, and then Colombia, because Juan Valdez is very proud to be Colombian, right? So we created that campaign. When you go on the dashboard, and this is what we talk, when we talk behavioral metrics, this is what we're saying. we know at what time each audience is reacting better to our content. So we know what's happening and when it's happening. Also from Monday to Sunday, this is great for the real world, because when we tell a client that the perfect mode of provocation is amazing on Tuesdays in our community, then they do something in store to that, you know? So we're giving them this data to apply to the stores to do something with it. And that's how they're also increasing sales and doing amazing stuff. So this is how the magic happens. When you go on the Chronopost and you connect your account, you're gonna have all the historic of your content. When you post it through the tool, it's gonna already know which content pillar it is. If not, if you're posting it directly with Hootsuite or Facebook or whatever, then you just have to choose it. For example, this is the last post. Ask for your coffee, whatever, so this is product. So Smart Beemo gathers the last 160 posts every 6 minutes and knows, this with a different weight over reach when it comes to Facebook. When you hit on planning and you hit predict, Smart Beemo takes all that data, predictive data, and it gives you an optimized content calendar for the next 7 days. So let's say that I want to keep this one, which is experience. So I edit it, I upload all the content, images, links, videos, hashtags, whatever. Sorry, the internet's really slow here at the conference. I'm sure you're having that issue. And then we also have a trending now feature, which is on beta, that is actually related to the content pillar. So if there's something about provocation these days or right now happening, Smart Beemo is going to tell you, this is trending right now, so consider it, because people are loving this kind of content, so bring it on. We have another cool feature that you can upload all your content and send it to your client, to your boss or to whoever, and it looks something like this. Let me just do Kingston. So you can upload all the content here for Facebook and Twitter. You know that Instagram doesn't allow any external publishing. Facebook and Twitter, you upload all your posts and you share it with your client. They're gonna get this same interface with a secure login, like a Google Docs type of thing, and they can add their comments here and say, how clients are. I love it, but make the logo bigger, or I love it, but change the photo, and so on and so forth. And then the status is revision. Go and revise it and fix it. So we as an agency or as the community manager, whatever, you get all that collaboration in real time, and you're able to, basically send your content and your client can review it there. And then once it's approved, you can just drag and drop it on the content calendar, which is another cool feature there. We have the trending thing, which is, like I said, a beta thing. Any soccer football lovers here? Well, I'm one. You got another one. So you know that Ter Stegen made a mistake. It was a good goal from Roma, but everyone was talking about Ter Stegen, the Barcelona goalkeeper. So let's see what people are talking about it. As is talking about him. He's the goalie for Barcelona. And then all this is trendy about, Ter Stegen. So if you're, let's say, Nike soccer, and you want to talk about this, you'll see a lot of trending information in real time. Let's do, social media. This is a beta. We're just testing this, but this is what people are talking, the debate was last night, so I was talking that social media was huge for that, and so on and so forth. That's pretty much it. Do you guys have any questions? Okay, start with the girls.
So you have analytics in your platform.
Yeah.
You have trending, and you have posting.
Yeah.
What social media platforms do you include?
Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And we're launching LinkedIn and Pinterest. Actually, Pinterest wants to buy us. So we're talking about that. Or, they want to buy a part of Smart Beemo because they see a lot of value in this for, Pinterest is a very visual content platform.
Yeah.
And we're in conversations with them to do something with them.
Okay.
But LinkedIn is coming, is the next one.
What about on Instagram, you could publish from there?
No, Instagram doesn't allow any external publishing tools, none. Instagram you have to go, because it's a fully mobile app, so you have to do it from Instagram. There is no tool that you can use for it.
You can set it up in.
You can set it up here. You can see the predictions. Let me show you how, and that's a great question because Instagram is a bit limited.
Yeah.
I'm gonna show you my own Instagram because you know that Instagram doesn't allow multi-login things. So if I log out from my own platform, from my own channel, it'll be annoying. But this is how it looks on my Instagram, my personal Instagram. So my topics are marketing. I play the guitars and drums, so I have content on that, and sports. I play soccer and tennis and boxing and all that. So those are my content pillars. This is how my Instagram looks like. So Dante, that's my dog. Music, marketing, and personal stuff. So I know that, for example, when I talk about marketing, it's gotta be between 9 and noon, right? But from 12 to 3, I talk about music and I talk about Dante, my dog. And then also during the days of the week, I know that Thursday is huge for marketing content. And I also know that Wednesday is amazing for music content, like to post videos of me playing the drums or playing the guitar. And then there's all the whole behavior. And the predictive tool looks something like this. This is the historic of my posts. Sorry, I'm used to do it with a good internet, but it takes a bit. So you see the whole historic of my post, and when I hit predict, it gives me the prediction, basically, but I cannot post it from here, so I have to go, what I do is I look at it and it says, for example, tonight, post at 10:57 p.m. There's a video of me playing the guitar, a formula of analytics, and then playing the drums, and then my dog, and so on, a mix of that. So when I go here and predict, it gives me exactly what to say. On my Instagram, the engagement-wise, and my Twitter and my Facebook is just insane. So, for example, today, it's saying post a video of music at 10:05 p.m. Trust me, when I follow that, magic happens. And then maybe personal stuff a bit later. I only post once a day for Instagram, and then so on for the rest of the week, and I follow it. Go.
Can you set up different accounts?
Yes.
Different Instagram accounts?
Yep.
And is this based on, in general, like you said, once this was good for you about your guitar, is that you based on your followers, or it's just in general, it's good on websites?
So it's both, because when you set a campaign, we're asking you, for example, here, let's look at Subway. So we're asking you your industry, and we're asking you, the name of your account and the content pillars. So what we're doing with that is that we're giving you predictions based on your industry, and we know where you are as well. The US is different than, we do USVI, Virgin Islands, and so on. But mostly the predictions come from your previous content. So it takes your last 150 posts and gives you recommendations based on that, and then also brings what's happening in your industry in where you are. So it's a mix of both, actually.
So to follow up on that question, David, if you're not yet on social media, then this tool, is there any way
To do a statistics, you need 2 variables. You only need 2 posts to see which one is better. But what I would suggest, if you're just starting your Facebook page, post for 2 weeks or a month, and your Twitter a couple of weeks, and then you connect Smart Beemo. But also, make sure that when you start posting, you have 3 main content pillars defined.
Sorry to interrupt, but and can you actually look at your competition? I work for brands, so...
No, we're not a benchmark tool. There are amazing benchmark tools like Falcon Social. I think Nuvi does that, NetBase does that, and we don't want to compete with that because we'd rather go on a blue ocean where nobody can compete with us in predictive analytics, because nothing does something like that than going to, on a fist fight with NetBase, or it's impossible to win. They already do it amazingly, so that's where we're going long term. So we're predictive analytics with behavioral metrics. We're not benchmark, we're not brand watch, they're good tools for that actually.
Okay.
We'll become that, I'm sure, if we keep growing and we need to, that's on the plan. But the future of this, we're gonna do programmatic media with this. Because the same logics, when you have a campaign to sell more phones, let's say Samsung Galaxy, because these guys don't do much media, but Samsung Galaxy, the Edge thing, that is a beautiful phone. It's a new phone, let's say we're doing a display campaign. So you have the main campaign called Samsung Galaxy Edge. Content pillar A for media banners, let's say display, would be a phone. Content pillar B would be amazing photos. Content pillar C would be moments with your friends. And content pillar D could be a promotion that Verizon has. So we launched those ads with those sub-campaigns, and we play different formats, 720 by 90, 160 by 600, or even AdWords, call to action at the beginning, call to action at the end, call to action in the middle, feature versus benefit versus, and so on. So we start mixing those, and when we launch the campaign, after a week, we already know on Monday morning, sub-campaign V, format 720 by 90 is performing better. So we start allocating automatically. We do it manually with a person. Every 6 hours, we start allocating more money to that campaign in real time. Smart Beemo is going to do that for media, but we have to work with DoubleClick and e-planning and Facebook for business and all that. But that is the plan, doing programmatic, predictive media. We'd love to be able to do that.
Aside from taking,
Or, hold on, anyone from this side? Or question? Or-
aside from taking into account information from previous postings, does it take into account seasonal posting? Like it knows this past December, these three things were key for your consumers. Is that going to change your algorithm as the season progresses, like into the holidays?
No, what's happening is that's why we have the trending feature. So it takes only considers your previous content, but then when you're about to post, it's gonna tell you in real time, this is trending in your industry and this is what your audience are talking about. So you have this prediction, but then consider, and that's how we're trying to affect in the good way, creativity. So you have a prediction on product for tomorrow, a video at 9, but then someone is saying that the product is indestructible because they throw it from a skyscraper and they have a video of that, so you take advantage of that content, and you're still following the prediction, but you're using a trend, because that video is gaining millions of loops in Vine or whatever, you know? So that's what we're doing the trending feature. Anyone else?
So that's how you're suggesting content is through the trending feature?
We're suggesting content, you got it late, right? You got it late? What? Okay, but you saw the thing. No, we're suggesting content based on content pillars, content pillar distribution. We're not trying to interfere with creativity, and you can predict and you can have the best technology in the world, but if your ideas are bad and your executions are bad, nothing's going to happen. That's for sure. So what we're trying to tell you is what to say, when to say it, and how to say it. Your creative is your creative, but then we're bringing the trending, content. We're going to bring the hottest hashtags per industry, per location in real time. And we're going to tell you, for example, for Facebook, there is a study that says that no more than 3 hashtags on Facebook. Twitter, it's not a big post, so maybe 1 or 2. Instagram, 20, it's okay, or as many as you can. So we're going to be telling you all those things to optimize your content, but we're not going to tell you, do this creative, because that's, we're not there yet, We also want to do like a post editor, or just want to bring the picture, like a meme generator, bring the picture, add the logo, and we're going to give you the measures, the rules for smartphones going to have that too. It's in development now.
I guess that this is probably a really entry level question, but how do you feel about sharing the same content across various platforms?
I think I've never advocated for that actually. I don't think that, we have to do it. For example, Subway or whatever, they're big clients, but they don't have much money because we're doing 9 countries at the same time, 3 platforms per country, so they cannot pay individually what it costs to create custom content for Instagram, which is way more lifestyle-ish and like immersive, like I was saying before, than Facebook, that you can do more like stock images with copy, I think it's something that is not recommended, but we're still gonna see it until you find a client that actually understands that when you as a person open your Instagram, you're hoping to see something different than when you browse on your Twitter. Because when you go on Twitter, you go to learn something and to get informed. When you go on Instagram, you go and see what your friends are up to, and when you go on Facebook, it's a mix of both. So we as brands, we should be doing content with that mindset, rather than sharing the same content across, because I think it's bad.
So like we can post something on Instagram and we can get like, I don't know, 500, 800 likes and like 50, 60, 80 comments, but then we can post the same thing on Facebook and it's like 2. But is that potentially a lot to do with the 1% visibility thing? It's
Yeah.
not necessarily because people don't like it or not.
Reach on Facebook is something that we're basically like this, because it's like you're a famous artist, and then you have a concert and 100,000 people come to see you, but they're like this. 99,000 of them are like this and like this, and they, even though they're there because they chose to, they cannot see you or hear you out. That's Facebook's business, and it has to do with that. But sharing the same content as a brand, the same creative across platforms is something that people reject, because when you, in your mindset, when you browse your Twitter or your Instagram, whatever, you go with a different mindset, your brain knows what you want to find there. So if you find like a disruption that you're not okay with, that's when you're getting follows, and that's why you don't get any engagement. And that's a big symptom with big brands doing the same content on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. But again, it's not our fault. We know that's not right, but then brands don't want to pay for. Brands don't want to pay for custom content generation for each of the platforms. So you have to play a bit with designs and allocating logos and here and there. But yeah, it has to do with both. Any more questions? Nobody else? Guys, stop by our booth, get your account set, and start predicting. Thank you so much for coming. See you soon.